Carrick was a young shapeshifter who lived high in the mountains with his kin. Though he could take on a human form, he chose to remain a cougar most of the time, for his family had forbidden contact with humans. Yet, as the seasons passed, his curiosity about the world below grew stronger, and ache inside him that no rule could quiet. One day, driven by that longing, Carrick left the wild behind. He was found and adopted by a kind human family, learning to walk among them as one of their own. One morning, as he sat at the breakfast table with his new parents and siblings, Carrick's eyes caught a newspaper headline about a string of strange animal attacks. Several people had been injured, and no one understood what was causing this sudden violence among different species. After breakfast, he said goodbye to Donald and joined his adoptive mother in the car, while Melody, his spirited sister, insisted on tagging along for the trip to his new school. As the car wound its way down the long mountain roads, Carrick noticed two crows trailing them through the sky. They never left their sight, and the boy couldn't help but wonder if those birds were shapeshifters like him. By dusk, the family stopped at a roadside hotel to rest. Yet, the crows were still there, perched nearby, watching. Later that night, a strange sound woke Carrick. Drawn to the window, he saw a pack of wolves racing into an alley, moments before the lights in a neighboring building flickered and died. Unease crept over him. When morning came, they resumed their journey, and by noon, the car pulled into Clearwater High, a secluded academy nestled in the forest's edge. As Carrick stepped out, the mystery deepened. The two crows that had followed them transformed before his eyes into human students. Just then, a dignified woman approached Lisa Clearwater, the school's principal. With a warm but knowing smile, she welcomed him and asked how Anna Ralston had found him. Anna explained that Carrick's biological parents were never discovered. Years ago, while working as a social worker, she had received a call about a frightened boy who refused to speak to anyone. Feeling an unexplainable bond, she'd adopted him, convinced her husband to do the same, and raised Carrick as their son. When she received an invitation from Clearwater High, she believed it was the perfect place for him to finally belong. After their conversation, Lisa asked to speak to Carrick privately. Once they were alone, she dropped her calm tone and spoke with quiet certainty. She knew his secret. This was no ordinary school, she revealed. Every student, every teacher, was a shapeshifter. There was no need for masks here. Before Carrick could fully process her words, the school alarm blared through the halls, and Lisa hurried off. Outside, she found Anna and Melody wandering the restricted campus grounds and quickly had her assistant escort them away. Carrick, meanwhile, gazed in awe at the creatures around him: foxes, wolves, owls, and more, each bearing both human and animal form. For the first time in his life, he wasn't the only one. As he explored the hallways, Carrick encountered Jeffrey and his pack, a group of wolves who quickly made their hostility known. The tension escalated, but James, a senior student, intervened just in time to prevent a fight. Later, after Carrick was introduced to the entire school, Anna bid him farewell. As she and Melody walked back toward their car, a man arrived on campus, the wealthy Andrew Milling, benefactor of Clearwater High. When Carrick met him, he spoke honestly. He had left the mountains to live among humans because something inside him felt incomplete, a void he hoped this new life might fill. That night, alone in his new dorm room, Carrick read the school's rules until a tapping sound came from his window. A squirrel appeared, then leapt inside with bright eyes and quick words. Her name was Holly, and she had been assigned as his guide. With cheerful energy, she led him to his first class, Shapeshifting 101. Their instructor, Mr. Elwood, reminded the students of the law. Transformations were permitted only during class and never in front of humans. When it came time for demonstrations, he called on Carrick first. Nervous, the boy hesitated. Before he could act, another student, Brandon, a powerful but gentle bison, transformed uncontrollably, unable to maintain his human form. Watching Brandon's raw strength only made Carrick more self-conscious, and he decided not to try. Yet, with Lisa's calm guidance, he closed his eyes and recalled his childhood, the forest, his mother's soft growl, the wind across the peaks. In that moment, his cougar emerged. Around him, other students followed, their shapes filling the room with energy. Lisa smiled and told him that here, he would learn to balance his two sides, the wild and the human, and maybe one day become a bridge between their worlds. Later that day, Brandon became Carrick's roommate. The two quickly formed an uneasy friendship, with Holly often joining them at meals. In the cafeteria, Carrick met Dorian, a boy who could turn into a cat and had once lived as a family pet until he was caught opening a can of sardines on two legs. Carrick's reputation soon spread. His cougar form earned him both respect and fear. Smaller animals kept their distance, and Bo, a timid hare, tried to stay invisible. But when Jeffrey's wolves began bullying Bo, Carrick stepped in. Though outnumbered, he refused to back down. James arrived again to stop the fight before it spiraled further. That night, Brandon accidentally transformed in his sleep, crushing his bed to splinters. He apologized, saying it happened every week or two. Carrick laughed nervously, realizing sleep might be rare in this dorm. During combat training the next morning, Brandon was supposed to duel Berta, a fierce bear shifter, but fled before the match began. Declaring himself a pacifist, Brandon yielded his spot, and Carrick was pushed forward instead. Seeing his hesitation, Andrew Milling stepped in. He handed Carrick a pouch scented with cougar musk and told him to breathe deeply. The moment he did, Carrick's instincts surged. He transformed and leapt into battle, smaller than Berta but faster, more cunning. Within moments, he had pinned his opponent, earning astonished silence from the class. Afterward, Andrew approached him privately, impressed. He offered to mentor Carrick personally, pressing the pouch into his hand as a token of promise. But Jeffrey's jealousy burned hot. That evening, he challenged Carrick to a duel against 2 wolves, promising to leave him alone if he won. Later, in the hidden treehouse where students met after class, Carrick told his friends about the challenge. Brandon worried that a forbidden fight could get him expelled, but Carrick's patience was gone. He was tired of being hunted. Holly, unwilling to dissuade him, vowed to be there for support. That night, the 3 snuck out. Carrick inhaled the cougar scent and transformed beneath the moon. When he arrived at the meeting spot, he realized too late it was a trap. Jeffrey hadn't brought 2 wolves, he'd brought his entire pack. Outnumbered, Carrick fought fiercely but was eventually overwhelmed. Seeing this, Holly shoved Brandon off a ledge, forcing the bison to transform midair and crash into the wolves. Together, they turned the tide. Bloodied but unbroken, Carrick stood tall as Jeffrey and his pack limped away in defeat. The next morning, the teachers noticed injuries among their students. When questioned, no one dared tell the truth. Before Carrick could be interrogated, Andrew invited him on a drive. During the ride, Carrick realized Andrew already knew everything. A true cougar, Andrew said, doesn't need rescuing even against a pack. Since Carrick had never learned to hunt, Andrew offered to teach him. Their first lesson was in the forest. Andrew explained that transformation grows easier with practice, control is forged through repetition. Carrick learned to stalk, to ambush, and together they brought down a deer. As they shared the meal, Andrew spoke softly of his daughter, who would have been Carrick's age had she lived. At school the next day, Carrick seemed distant. Lou, a fox shifter and close friend, noticed he wasn't eating. When he confessed he'd hunted that morning, her face hardened. Her mother had been attacked by a cougar long ago. She stormed away, leaving him consumed with guilt. Later that night, Carrick saw Jeffrey's pack sneaking toward town. Suspicious, he followed and found them breaking into a factory. Before they could attack him, Andrew appeared, commanding them all to stop. But what came next shattered Carrick's faith. Andrew revealed his secret. He was the mastermind behind the recent animal attacks. Years ago, hunters had killed his wife and daughter. His grief had curdled into vengeance, not just against the hunters, but against humanity itself. Humans, he said, had dominated nature, driven countless species to extinction. The Woodwalker Council's attempts at peace had failed. He believed only force could restore balance. That night, over dinner, a woman with a mechanical leg served them. She was Sheila, a snake shifter hit by a car in her animal form. Andrew argued that he didn't wish to harm humans, only sabotage their machines to stop their endless destruction. He asked Carrick to join him. Torn and uncertain, the boy said he needed time to think. The next morning, Brandon's wild training session led to a chaotic collision with Carrick's visiting adoptive family. Carrick tried to cover for his friend's blunder and led his parents to his dorm, where Anna accidentally startled Holly rifling through her purse. Lisa reprimanded them, reminding everyone of school protocol. Before leaving, Anna invited Carrick on a weekend trip. He agreed, eager for time away. But that evening, Andrew called, urging him to join a weekend mission instead. Carrick refused, saying he wanted no part in harming humans. The call ended abruptly. Seeking clarity, he ran deep into the forest to practice his transformations. There, Wing, a crow shifter, found him, warning that others feared for his safety. Suddenly, a drone buzzed overhead. Hunters. Wing destroyed the machine, but soon dogs gave chase. Carrick fled, climbing into the trees. Shadow, another crow, dropped him clothes as he reverted to human form. Exhausted, he made it back to the school gates only to collapse. Andrew was there again, ready to save him. When Carrick awoke, Andrew spoke gently, telling him his biological family might still live in the Yellowstone Mountains. The thought filled Carrick with fire. He agreed to join Andrew's cause not out of hatred, but out of hope that helping would earn him the truth. Days later, the mission began. Andrew split the teams. Carrick would guard the forest perimeter, while Jeffrey's wolves evacuated a nearby mine's workers. But when Carrick spotted his adoptive family camping near the valley, terror gripped him. He called Andrew, who assured him they were safe. Yet when the wolves' aggression frightened the miners into fleeing, Derek, Andrew's right-hand man, moved to destroy the site. Carrick begged him to stop. At that moment, Brandon and Holly appeared, trying to help. Lou also arrived, pleading with Derek to reconsider, but the man shoved her aside and the crows struck back. Furious, Derek transformed into a grizzly bear, forcing Brandon to fight. Amid the chaos, Carrick kicked Derek from the vehicle and turned cougar once more. Just then, Andrew removed the block restraining the logs. Tons of timber began to roll down the slope, straight toward Carrick's family. Abandoning the duel, Carrick raced after them. In the valley, Anna shouted for her children to hide, but Melody couldn't hear. Her headphones drowned out the danger. As the logs thundered down, Carrick threw himself into the path, shoving her clear just in time. Moments later, Anna found her daughter trembling but alive. Melody whispered that a cougar had saved her, though Donald dismissed it as panic. In the forest above, Lou and the others discovered Carrick's limp body. When his eyes finally opened, relief swept through them. Andrew appeared soon after, pretending to have witnessed the accident. He called a helicopter, ensuring Anna's family was safely evacuated. Once they were gone, Carrick turned on him in fury. He threatened to expose everything to Lisa, but Andrew countered coldly. He claimed to know where Carrick's true parents were, and promised to reveal their location only if he stayed silent. Moments later, Lisa arrived with the police on her heels. Andrew lied smoothly, blaming the mine's destruction on his assistant, Derek. Though she doubted him, Lisa chose to withdraw for now, vowing to investigate further. Back at Clearwater High, word spread quickly. Carrick and his friends were hailed as heroes for saving lives during the disaster, and as the sun rose over the mountain campus, Carrick stood apart from the cheering crowd, his eyes distant. He had found his place among shapeshifters, yet the line between human and beast had never felt thinner. Somewhere in the balance of both worlds, his true self was still waiting to be found.